right, all right. How's everybody?
Good. How you doing?
Good. Sarah, how are you?
Fine. Just trying to get my dog to eat something today.
God, I never had that problem.
Well, normally I
what's wrong
don't
with
either. I don't know if she's not eating in protest that Alex isn't here today or tomorrow.
Oh, being pouty.
Oh, wow. So the dog prefers Alex, huh?
No.
I mean, that kind of doesn't surprise me.
Which one? That I said no or that she would prefer Alex?
Both. I think you guys might notice that my co-host is back from her leave of absence. As you can see, she's a little shy coming back to be on camera. Biscuit. Yeah. The bitch is back.
Look at Quack's back.
Quack's back. Screw Spooky do, right? All right. So Sarah, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about your Friday issue, Wine and Spirits Daily. So you were in Austin and you covered the Discus meeting, which it's the Distilled Spirits Council. It's kind of the distilled spirits version of the Beer Institute. Since I've been covering beer for 20 some odd years, Discus has always had it together. Like those, I mean, I'm not comparing them to the Beer Institute. Okay. They're two different animals, but as an organization, they are so cohesive and they know exactly what they want. And, you know, they're not always in lockstep with the Wine and Spirits Wholesalers Association, but more times than not, they are, compared to what we experience over in the beer industry. So tell me a little bit about the vibe that was going on in Austin at Discus.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good conference. This is just their second one, actually. Their first one was 2 years ago. They were, I guess, one of the final, conferences of 2020 in February. I know it was really good. I mean, because they're Discus, they can obviously get all the big guys there, which is great. Pretty good COVID protocols too. I mean, you had to get tested right when you got there. You had everybody had different colored wristbands. I still don't know what the different colors mean. I don't know if it was like a sneaky way to be like, that person needs to be tested a bunch, But...
Well, at MBWA, we had wristbands that, I mean, everybody had to have a test or a vaccine, but they had red, yellow, green. So if you wore a green one, you could come up and you could kiss me full on the mouth with tongue. If you had a yellow one, like, you can kiss me, but no tongue. And then I think this is right, Jordan? And then if you have a red one,
sounds about right,
then all bets are off. You can have unprotected sex. Was that the protocol?
I think you were 2 for 2 and then went off the rails on the third one.
And it's so funny because Jen was like, well, I don't understand. Which one should I get? And I was like, Jen, you want the red one. The red one would stay the fuck away from me and don't touch me. That's the one and it isn't obvious. I mean, green, yellow, red. I see a pattern. I don't want to make this into a Sesame Street song, but it's so.
Yes, but that is not what they meant at Discus. Thank you very much. They were orange and black. So no, I don't know if they had a Halloween thing. No, there was blue, orange, black. None of those they didn't correspond to anything that I could tell. You didn't choose your wristband either. To make that perfectly clear, I'm not an idiot who doesn't know her colors. Red. Red means stop.
Hello. Oh, there's somebody here at the door.
Was that a real knock?
Who could it be? Jason.
Hey guys.
Hello, Jason.
Hey, Jason.
How are you doing?
Doing all right. How are you?
Good. Thanks for being on here. I know there was just mass confusion. That's mainly because Jen had already set everything up, and then I thought she hadn't, and so then I set it up wrong, and then I set it up right, and then it's wrong. Do you understand how we run our business over here?
Vaguely, yes.
It's a little different.
Familiar enough to be dangerous, yeah.
Of course, this is Jason Murphy with Buffalo Wild Wings, and Some people call it b-dubs. Now, is it obnoxious to you, or is that acceptable?
No, b-dubs is good. We actually use b-dubs internally and externally for guest facing stuff. BW3 is gone. A lot of people still call it BW3, but that's of days of yesteryear. So
Right. And what does the 3 signify? I'm not tracking.
So when the initial locations opened 35 years ago, it was Buffalo Wild Wings and Weck. And so I'm not as familiar with Weck, but if you're from the Northeast, Weck is like a hot beef sandwich. It's almost like a French dip, or I don't know, someone who knows Weck might kill me for trying to compare it to a roast beef. But yeah, it was,
it's like a chili cheesesteak without the cheese, you know?
Like a beef sandwich. And then we don't serve Weck anymore. So we dropped Weck from the name. We're just Buffalo Wild Wings.
God, I thought I knew everything. I did not know that. I've never even heard of that. All right, well, cool. Well, let's get down to the brass tacks.
Yeah.
Thanks for being on here, Jason. What's going on out there? Tell me what's hot. Are seltzers working in your spot? How's COVID doing? Let's just open it up.
Yeah, business is coming back to the on-premise, which is nice to see. You know, we had to do some things that we never thought we'd have to do in the business about 18 months ago. I never thought I'd have to write a manual on how to shut down 1,200 draft systems all at once. And then never thought I'd have to write a manual on how to reopen 1,200 draft systems. So that was interesting. Things are coming back, and, guests are belling up to the bar and drinking some beer, and it's good to see. We got football season going on now, so we're week 5, which is good for us. Week 5 NFL, week 6 college. So the weekends have been good, and just it's good to see taps flowing, or beer flowing through the taps again.
Now, compared to like this time in 1919, if like a regular time, are we still back up to those levels, or is it still a little shy of that?
1919, we're not back to 1919 numbers, but 2019.
Well, yeah, of course, when I say 1919, was that during Prohibition? No, that was 1952. So, 1919 you're probably doing about half of what you did in 1919, honestly. If per capita consumption trends were double. But anyway, let's talk about 2019.
Yeah, 2019 business is coming back. We're not all the way there yet. I can't comment on specific numbers, but we're doing pretty good. I think our brewery partners are happy to see the amount that we're pouring. We're still doing really well off premise. Our business is really strong, and we're pretty close to seeing 2019 numbers again. So,
sorry, I was on mute. When you say off premise, do you mean beer to go or drinks to go?
Just all our overall food and beverage to go business is doing really well. So the guest has really responded well to ordering Buffalo Wild Wings for carryout. We admittedly haven't done a fantastic job on the bev-alc side of things. We're working on it. We got some things in place that we're hoping we can have launched by 2022. It looks like there's a lot of states who are either signing in their temporary laws into full-time laws, or a lot of states whose temporary laws extend all the way out into 2023 and beyond. So we still think we have a good opportunity to take advantage of the current climate of off-prem bev-alc to go. But just the overall awareness of Buffalo Wild Wings to go has never been higher. It's awesome to see the consumer gravitate towards that for our part of the business.
And do you guys partner with any specific home delivery apps, or do you just use them all?
We use them all. Yeah, they've all been really good partners to us.
One of the big things that the beer industry has wondered and hoped for, but it really hasn't happened, is that seltzer will go on premise and be kind of a big hit. Have you all seen any signs of shoots of that coming up?
We're starting to see that. Yeah. So I'll start off by saying packaged seltzer has been tough. I think packaged seltzer has been tough for pretty much any on-premise location, outside of kind of the entertainment places that are doing really well with bucket specials and things like that. It's been really slow for us. But then seltzer started to make its way on draft, and draft is where we do most of our business. It's over 90% of our business comes from draft. And so that was huge for us to get some partners who were ready to put some of their seltzers in kegs so we could start pouring on tap. And some limited tests that we were doing in the middle of, what year are we in right now? 2020, 2021, in the middle of 2021.
I think it's 19.
We're in 1920 now. Yeah, we're in 1921.
Right. 20.
Yeah. We were starting to pour some of the truly unflavored that they were doing to limited success, but we were also pouring Deep Ellum Blind Lemon in Texas, and then truly transitioned from unflavored to wild berry, which was a great move, I think, for them and for us. Our numbers for truly wild berry shot up pretty quickly. We were doing a rate of sale of about a keg a month, if not more, of our hard seltzers on draft, which was pretty good to see comparative to the volume that we were doing in package. So we made the decision with our fall reset. We did a fall mandate reset here in the beginning of September to put Truly on draft nationally. So we have Truly hard seltzer in every Buffalo Wild Wings company and franchise across the country. We also decided that there were some states that deserved second seltzer handles. So we have a ranch water seltzer that we're pouring in Texas. We partnered with Willie's Super Brew to do some of their, I think it's mango passion fruit in the Northeast. We're partnering with Boulevard. We're pouring some Quirk cherry blossom lime in Missouri and Kansas, I believe. And so, yeah, we're excited to see what draft can do for the seltzer category. I think there's been a lot made of, the seltzer slowdown and what things are going to look like. It's too big to fail. And it's going to be a big part of our business moving forward. And I don't see any reason why you can't have, 2 or 3 seltzer handles in the same way that you have 4 or 5 IPA handles or 4 or 5 light lager handles. Everybody's got their own different flavor preferences, and it's the same with seltzer. So I'm very excited to see what we can do with seltzer draft, especially with Truly on tap nationally, but all the other local and regional players over the next year or so.
Okay, so that's cool. And Jordan, I'm almost done. Then I'll let you. But so you have Truly as your national everywhere, wild berry, which is a very generic term. That's very smart. It's like wild berry.
Yeah.
What is a wild berry? I mean, it could be anything. So, but so that's smart. And do you mix it with anything? Like, do you have like a signature where you mix it with a vodka and anything like that yet?
We haven't dove into the world of seltzer cocktails yet, which I know that some of our competitors are doing it and doing it well. I think we've talked about it. I think it's something we would like to have on the menu here shortly, especially because we have Truly everywhere. It makes sense for us to get a cocktail like that on the menu. But no, we haven't really tiptoed it. We haven't dove into that yet. I think it's still kind of interesting to me because draft seltzer's so new. It doesn't really feel like there's a standardized pour technique yet or pouring ritual. And I think it's going to take someone like a Boston Beer to come out and say, hey, this is how we want you to pour our seltzer. I mean, it wasn't a retailer who decided to put an orange on Blue Moon, right? Like they said, hey, when you pour Blue Moon, put an orange on it. Same with a lime and a Corona. That was Corona saying, this is how you serve a Corona. So I think we're kind of waiting still for that industry standard to figure out how does the consumer want, or how does the guest want to consume or expect to consume seltzer on draft, on premise. Is it cocktail? Is it, a 12-ounce Collins glass, not over ice to replicate that slim can feeling? Is it a pint over ice, or what does that look like? So we're still trying to figure that out. Right now, we pour it in a Collins glass without ice. And if the guest requests it over ice, we'll pour it in a shaker pint over ice. But right now we're trying to really replicate that 12-ounce, 100-calorie slim can statement that the guest is used to from the off-prem.
And when you pour seltzer from a keg, it doesn't have a head on it, does it?
No, very thin.
So it is kind of,
it's instantly, yeah.
Right. Yeah, it is interesting because I haven't really I have deep thoughts. I just haven't. That's not one of my deep thoughts is how to serve a seltzer in a glass. I mean, I think I'd want it over ice, but I don't know. Like, you're right. Like, nobody does drink it over ice in a can. So, Huh.
So we standardized, we're going to do this without ice. And I got a call from one of our operators in the Midwest saying, Jason, what are you thinking? Everywhere I go and get a seltzer on draft, it's poured over ice. And I'm not making this up just to be combative with him. I don't think I've been to a place in Colorado that serves seltzer over ice. Like it's 100% the opposite from what I've seen in the on-premise visits I've had. So I think it might be regional. It's going to be, different folks' preferences. Personally, I don't know why you would want to dilute the flavor by pouring it over ice, but hey, if that's what you want to do, I'll serve it to you that way if that's what the guest expects. So.
Well, and it's like sparkling water. I mean, it's usually not over ice, in a restaurant when they just serve it in a cold glass. And so it's a seltzer. It's like a spark.
Yeah,
I guess. I don't know. Jordan, what you got?
Well, speaking of appearances, a seltzer's appearances, have you noticed if any seltzer brand does a little bit better if it has color on draft?
It's a little too early to tell because of the ones we've placed on draft. I do know two of the ones, the two I mentioned, Quirk pours a little like with a pinkish reddish hue. And then the mango passion fruit from Willie's Super Brew pours like a Mountain Dew green. It's an amazing looking color and presentation. So that just went on tap about a month ago, and I don't have any data yet to show me how that's doing from a long-term perspective. I would assume it's going to have that wow factor that when when it comes out of the bar and walks across the dining room, someone's going to be like, "What's that? I want to try that." I think it's a little bit too early to tell. Have me on in like 6 months, and then I'll.
Okay, deal. And then jumping back to packaged seltzer, what do you think the issue is there? Is it just too many brands to try and pick a few that you think are going to be winners, or what's going on?
I had a lot of opinion. Well, our business is very draft focused, and the way we menu, I think part of it is the consumer thing. I think part of it is an industry thing and how we message packaged seltzer to the guests. Typically, if you go into an on-premise location, draft and bottles aren't in the same section of a beverage menu. That's how it is with our beverage menu. If you find something you want to drink on draft, you're probably not even making it to the package section of that menu, which has predominantly been seltzer. So if you're okay with one of the 30 products we have on draft, you'll never know that we have 4 or 5 seltzers in the package or as a package option. Partially our fault. Partially the guest doesn't really care that much. They're fine ordering whatever we have on draft, or a vodka soda, or a margarita, or a ranch water, or something. So I think that's one of the things that we can do better in messaging it. I just also I think we've got get a little bit more creative with how we position seltzers in the on-premise. I think curated buckets are a really good idea. When you got the most popular SKUs for off-prem or variety packs, but when you buy the variety packs, you probably only really like 1 or 2 of the flavors, and then there's 1 or 2 flavors that you either collect in your fridge or you're handing to your neighbors or your grandparents because you're done with them and you want to move on to the next variety pack. In the on-premise, we can curate the best flavors from those variety packs, and we can create, a bucket special where we've got your favorite White Claw flavor and Truly flavor and Topo Chico flavor all in the same bucket, rather than you having to kind of wade through the 12 packs and whatever flavor might be in there that you don't want to get. So I think there's still some more work that we can do to figure out, what does the guest want from a package seltzer selection in a sports bar like ours, or maybe they just decide they don't want it and they want it on draft, and that's fine with us too. So we're figuring it out along with everyone else.
Well, let's talk beer, real beer.
I have not talked real beer with anyone in a long time, so that'd be great.
I know. Me neither.
Yeah.
And my publication's called Beer Business Daily. I mean, it's Michelob Ultra, Modelo, right? Are your hot?
Those are the hot ones. Yeah. I mean, those are the ones definitely gaining share. For our business, we're a sports bar, so people come to like to belly up to the bar and drink some American Light lagers, Bud Light, Coors Light, Miller Light, or 3 really great sellers for us. But Mich Ultra seen some movement in the top 10, top 5. since over the last 12, 18 months. I have a lot of theories on why that may be, but it's definitely grown quite a bit for us. And then Modelo has just been a constant growth vehicle for our draft systems over the last few years. So it continues to do well. Dos Equis continues to do really well for us as well. And then Sierra Nevada Hazy Little Thing is another product that we just brought on nationally that's grown quite a bit for us, and we're excited to see what that can do as a national hazy IPA brand for us everywhere.
Are there any recent breakout successes that have surprised you that kind of creep up on you?
I will say Mich Ultra was one that surprised me, kind of coming out.
And you said that you might have some theories. Can you expound a little bit on why you think Mich Ultra is doing so well?
Well, so we were obviously a large percentage of our locations were closed down for a period of time in 2020, and we were only doing beer to go. And when we came back, we opened up draft systems, but in a limited capacity. Mich Ultra had always been a good seller for us, somewhere like in the 5 or 6 range in terms of absolute volume. And it shot up to number 2 when we reopened our draft systems. I think a lot of people took some time during shutdown and staying home at work to focus on their health a little bit. And I think they turned to brands like Mich Ultra as something that had a little bit more of a healthier halo to it. And so when the on-premise reopened, maybe they were more conscious with the calorie counts that we have to display on our menus. Because we're a chain restaurant, we're required by the FDA to display calorie counts for every single product that we're pouring, and there's a significant calorie benefit to a Mich Ultra versus some of the other products that we have on draft. So we did see a shift there, and I think that, again, this is the opinion of one person, but I think that's directly related to just some of the consumer shifts we saw in people's health patterns over the last 18 months. So that was interesting. One product that performed really well for us earlier this year, and you continue to see similar products released in a similar category, is Stone Buenaveza, their salt and lime lager. And that was one that we've partnered with Stone and had some good promotions with them over the last 3 or 4 years, but that was one that outperformed expectations. And again, I think that honestly, I tie a lot of the Stone Buenaveza success to the success of seltzers. You see that a lot of share of seltzers was taken from the American light lager drinker. People went into seltzers, they found the flavors they liked, like a grapefruit, like a mango, like a lime. And then when that guest is maybe getting a little tired of seltzers, it's not the complete slowdown like everyone makes it out to be, but they're going back to beer. I don't think they're going back to the same light lagers they were drinking before. They got used to flavor. They got used to something with a little bit more in their product than what they were drinking before. And products like Stone Buenaveza, that salt and lime really fit that bill. It's beer. You're back into beer, but it's got a little bit of that lime flavor that kind of satisfies that, the flavors that you loved in the seltzers that you were drinking. So that's done really well for us. And then you just look at, different pockets across the country, products that really perform well on a regional basis. Firestone Walker 805 continues to absolutely crush it for us. Great Divide Hazy IPA is a really, really great performer on premise. We also did a promotion earlier this year with Golden Road Mango Cart, and that did extremely well for us too, probably for a similar reason why I think Stone Buenaveza did so well. So I'm really excited for kind of this regrowth or reintroduction of the fruit beer category in 2022 planning that we're going through right now with a lot of our supplier partners. You're seeing a lot more introductions of new products in the fruit beer category. And it seems early on.
And does that include sour beers?
To a lesser extent, yeah, it does. It does include sour beers. You're seeing that a lot. We don't have as much success with sours in our sports bars yet. It's something that I think still deserves tap space for at least one handle. It's never going to be a great seller in a Buffalo Wild Wings, but it will be a seller. And especially if it's not on tap, it needs to be in the package cooler. But it's something that I think is going to grow significantly over the next year or so. And I'm excited to see what a lot of the innovation our supplier partners have brought out in that category.
Hey, Jason. So I'm going to turn this over to the wine and spirit side a little bit.
Cool.
Yeah, so I think this was 2019. So I'm curious how this has kind of progressed. You guys building out kind of more of a cocktail program, and whether or not COVID's shifted you one way or the other, maybe a little bit more spirit forward or less, or kind of how that's shaken out.
Yeah, our breakdown is still fairly even. So we are still fairly the same. We're about 80% beer, about 18% spirits, and 2% wine. From the spirit side of the business, we really tried to focus in on classic cocktails. For the past couple of years, our bartenders just need to make sure they really know how to make a good old fashioned. And so we focused in on cocktails like that. Maybe they need to know how to make a Negroni, definitely need to know how to make a good mule. So we've been focusing in on those types of cocktails. But we're also still a sports bar. So I think that's one of the things that we've challenged ourselves with over the last year is, yes, the consumer may be going in down the path of more traditional refined cocktails like an old fashioned, but how does that manifest itself in a Buffalo Wild Wings? What does an old fashioned look like at a Buffalo Wild Wings? What does Negroni look like at a Buffalo Wild Wings? What does a Manhattan look like at a Buffalo Wild Wings? And so we're still trying to figure that out. We're doing some research right now into trying to understand what the guest wants out of a Buffalo Wild Wings cocktail menu. And you're likely going to see us make a little bit more changes to our lineup in 22 to figure that out. From some of the things that we've seen, consumers really gravitate towards specific platforms on cocktail menus, whether that be margaritas, mules, punches, lemonades, teas. I don't think we know what those platforms are yet and how they come to life in a b-duibs, but it's something we're going to look at for innovation in 22. The other place that we've seen we might have some room to play at for innovation at a b-duibs are mocktails, spirit-free, low and no alc. We recently did some work with our guests to ask them what was important to them at the Buffalo Wild Wings from our existing menu. And we knew that we had good sales in our non-alc section of, shaken lemonades, things of that vein. We were very surprised to see how important that was to them on surveys and how important that was to their likelihood to return. So I don't know if we need to expand our spirit-free and mocktail section, but I think from some of the survey results we've seen, we at least have the right to go innovate and kind of play around with what could be next, and see if there's any room to kind of grow that section or that category within our sports bars.
Yeah. So does that mean more like lemonade based drinks, or, in that realm, or is it like pulling in these up and coming actual like non-alc spirit brands, ones that are,
I think it's both. I think there's some really cool, I have a problem calling them non-alc spirits, but non-alc spirits that are out there that could make sense for us. But I think it's just developing some really great tasting non-alc drinks that the guest wants to have instead of switching to a water or a soda water at the end of the night. We're a sports bar. You go to a sporting event, alcohol sales are cut off in the fourth quarter for a good reason, right? It's because we want to make sure people can, get home safely from the event they're attending. It's the same thing in a Buffalo Wild Wings, right? We want to make sure people get home safely from watching, 4 quarters of a football game or basketball game. So if we can have a list of really great tasting drinks that look and feel like a cocktail and taste like what you're used to getting out of a Buffalo Wild Wings cocktail, but ensure that you're getting home safe at the end of the night, I think that's worth investing some time into to figure out what we can do there to grow that space, especially because there's seemingly more and more guest interest in that category every day. I carried around a Heineken 00, a couple Heineken 00s at a conference I was at a couple weeks ago. I had never done that before. I just think the consumer appetite towards those kinds of categories are changing dramatically.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do y'all carry any non-alc beers right now?
So we've carried Heineken 00 for a while. It's outperformed expectations for us over the last couple of years. And then with this recent mandate refresh that I mentioned that occurred in September, we added Lagunitas IPNA. Is it IPNA? Yeah, IPNA. Nationally. So we have that in all of our sports bars as well. I don't have sales numbers on that to report back on, but I know just anecdotally, I've been in our sports bars and I've seen guests drinking it, multiple guests drinking it, which has been a pleasant surprise. And then also we're looking at, some of the regional players. I've recently made connections with a brewery out of Minneapolis called Hairless Dog. They're an NA craft brewery making absolutely delicious liquid. And we've got them in package in Minnesota and Wisconsin. And they're supporting the heck out of our restaurants. They're doing a really great job. So I think there's a lot of run room for expansion of NA beer products in our sports bars as we look to 2022 and what that mandate reset's going to be.
There's always sexy AF spirits, right?
Exactly.
That's an inside joke. Sarah, you and I have to have a discussion about that later. Okay, we're already keeping you too long, but I have a question. IPAs. Does anybody drink IPAs anymore, or is that still a big segment within beer? And then the follow up to that is Blue Moon and Light Sky still a top tier beer for you guys?
So to the initial question on IPAs, yes, we sell a ton of IPAs. It's by far the leading category for us in craft, followed closely behind by wheats, to dip in a little bit to your Blue Moon comment, which I'll jump to in a second. But IPAs continue to do it extremely well for us. We've been very happy with the performance of Sierra Nevada Hazy Little Thing. We had that as a promotion late 2020 that proved itself worthy of having a national mandate. So they have a year-round national mandate in our sports bars, which is fantastic. Lagunitas IPA still does incredibly well for us. The New Belgium Voodoo Ranger series does well for us. But then, we're a sports bar. I know we're a national chain, but you come to us for local sports viewing experiences. And so, the local IPAs all across the country do really well for us, from, your Modern Times on the West Coast to Cigar City, High Ally in the East Coast. Creature Comforts Tropicalia is insane for us in Georgia. There's a brewery just up the street from me here in Colorado, Four Noses. They have a beer called Bout Damn Time that, is one of our best sellers here in the state. So, it's really, it's great to see not only the national players perform really well, like Lagunitas, New Belgium, Sierra Nevada, the regional guys like Modern Times, but the local guys are still doing really well for us too. So that's great. From a Blue Moon perspective, they're fantastic partners. Blue Moon Belgian White is typically or is always been in the top 5 of our volume sales. So, beyond our top, I've mentioned a lot, Coors Light, Bud Light, Miller Lite, Mich Ultra. Blue Moon's the other one that's in the top 5 that does really well for us. And so our guest just continues to order Blue Moon by the kegs, which is fantastic. Blue Moon Light Sky, we have on in test right now in a few dozen locations in the Midwest on draft. It did well for us in package. We're trying to see what draft can do, hopefully not be too cannibalistic of the Belgian white product. A little bit too early to tell a read on that, but we're really hopeful that can be another good product for us on draft. But then just the innovation, the liquid that's coming out of their brewery with their Moon Haze product. We're really excited to see what we might be able to do with that in 22. Great tasting liquid, and really everything that's coming out of the Blue Moon Brewing in Denver, which is their kind of, innovation or incubation center, is just absolutely fantastic. So I can't compliment the Molson Coors and Blue Moon team enough, because they've done a really good job with those brands over the last few years.
Well, good. Well, Jason, you said it all. We appreciate you coming on. Is there any message of hope that you want to give our listeners in these
I don't
hard,
know if
hard
I think it's
times?
dangerous for me to be the one giving the message of hope. But I mean, things are good. Guests are coming out and watching football. NHL season puck drops in tomorrow night, which I'm really excited about. NBA season is following closely behind. We got people coming in sports bars, watching the baseball, the MLB playoffs that are going on right now. I would say if you want hope, and this is a cheap attempt at a sales pitch, like stop in Buffalo Wild Wings on a Saturday or Sunday, like, belly up to the bar and enjoy some beers with strangers that you've never met before, and high five someone, and get happy when you scores, or pissed when someone throws an interception. Like it's a good time to be in a sports bar. So we're excited.
Man, I think your message of hope is very important. Don't cheap. I agree with you. I mean, listen, when the Aggies can beat Alabama, you know that you wanted to be in a sports bar when that happened.
Exactly.
If
Yeah.
you're from Texas. I mean,
And
I was alone sitting in this couch with this stupid dog. So it didn't even matter. It's almost like a tree falling in a forest.
Right.
So not that I'm a big Aggie fan. I went to UT. It doesn't matter. I don't even watch football. Okay. Well, this is great. Thank you, Jason, for being on. Thank you for drinking beer. Thank you for serving beer. Thank you for being the largest on-premise beer retailer in the entire 50s country, continental USA, and Alaska and Hawaii, probably.
Somebody's got to do it.
So somebody's got to do it. And when we are red on Antarctica, there will be a Buffalo Wild Wings on Antarctica.
I can't wait.
All right, guys. Well, Biscuit, you could tell, is fascinated with you in the interview. She's meditating on it. All right, guys. Well, thanks for drinking beer, and take care, Jason. We'd love to have you back in a few months to get a cool tune up.
Yeah, sounds great. Let's reconnect early 22. Be great.
All right,
Thank
man.
you all.
Take
Have a
care.
good one.